everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you hear my frogs like doing their little like meep sounds over here, it's just because they're having fun in their new polydarium, which I'll be revealing to you soon. But today's video is something different than I normally do, and that is talk about another YouTuber. So I wasn't even aware of this YouTuber until this morning. My first gut reaction this morning was anger and crying when I saw Def Noodles tweet, which we'll get into right now. So Def Noodles tweeted about a video that Nikki, the YouTuber, had posted. Because I don't know anyone's pronouns in this situation, I'm just going to say they. So Nikki posted a video with their husband Dan, and it was about their dog Bowser. In Def Noodles' tweet, he just kind of like boiled it down really quickly, and I just immediately felt anger, and so I was like, okay, I need to watch the whole video. So then of course I went and watched the video, and I still feel quite angry, but also have empathy for the tough situation that they were in. But also it was an avoidable situation, even if they don't see it that way. There are some things that could have been done to prevent what happened from happening. And so if you didn't watch the video, the TLDR is that Nikki and Dan have a child named Logan and a dog named Bowser. I think they also have another dog as well. And Bowser is a dog they've had for 10 years, and it's primarily Dan's dog. Like, Dan had the dog and brought it into the relationship is what I assume. And Bowser has aggressive tendencies, he has behavioral problems, and the reason that Bowser has those issues is because he was attacked when he was a puppy, and after that his behavior changed. So he had like a traumatic experience and his behavior changed, which makes sense. So ever since then, Bowser just doesn't have an easy time like interacting with the outside world, and so is therefore like an inside dog. Bowser shows aggression to other dogs, or even just like the slight sound of them, like a bark or like a collar jingling. Bowser has been known to attack other dogs. So that kind of makes sense, right? Like when a dog experiences something traumatic like being attacked when they're a puppy, you know, that's gonna shape how they behave, because that's such a like flexible period of time for them where they're just taking everything in. It's the same thing for kids, you know, and then that shapes who you are as an adult. And so at that point in time, it would have been really great for them to have taken the dog to like behavioral therapy and training classes, and that wasn't mentioned in the video, so that might have been something that they did, but I don't know if they did. It just wasn't mentioned in the video. But if you ever find yourself or someone you know in a similar situation where your dog is attacked and becomes fearful and aggressive, what you can do is find a dog trainer and a dog behavior specialist and work with them inside and outside of your home to make your dog feel safer and more secure and have better interactions with their environment. So they've had Bowser for like almost 10 years, they said, and they have a young child named Logan. And Logan is not great with boundaries because Logan's a child. And so Logan will interact with Bowser in ways that are like a bit forward, not a way that an adult would. So the child will like put their hands in Bowser's food, or like tug on Bowser, or try to like invade spaces where Bowser is like sleeping comfortably or laying comfortably. And this is like a tale as old as time situation where like a child continues to push a dog because they don't understand boundaries, and then the dog, out of frustration, lashes out. And unfortunately, in this situation, the outcome was to euthanize Bowser. So this is where it becomes really, really frustrating and really tricky, because I want to have empathy, and I do have empathy for the couple, because, you know, it's clear that they faced a difficult decision, right? A painful decision. There were other things that could have been done. And I mean, just before the incident even took place, they had this dog for 10 years, and as I said, I don't know 100% if they decided to go seek out behavioral therapy for the dog or dog training or anything like that. But like, there's extreme cases where you can have someone come into your home and work with you about how to interact with your dog and how to make them feel safe and how to make them interact with the world better. And it wasn't mentioned that that was something that was done. So I'm just going to assume that that wasn't done, because they did mention other things like talking to people about rehoming the dog, which was also not done. As I said, Bowser was euthanized. And at a certain point in the video, when they start talking about like the day before they euthanized him or the day of, I had to stop watching. I'm even getting a little like choked up thinking about it. I tried to watch beyond that point 3 times while putting on my foundation, and it just wasn't happening. I was way too emotional. I lost a dog back in October, and it was horrible. So like I can't even think about it. So they said that they reached out to the Humane Society and like other experts, although they didn't clarify experts in what or how many. When they said like we want to rehome the dog, basically they were told that like they'd still be responsible if the dog were to attack someone, which I've never heard of before, but maybe so. And they said that a dog with like aggression for that long, like there's not much to be done about it now, and that it would probably just be euthanized anyway, or that it wouldn't find a suitable home. And like they were just basically given like negative answers. But again, this all comes back to the dog wouldn't have had behavioral problems for 10 years if they had sought out like behavioral therapy for the dog. And in addition to that, I don't know if it's super possible to teach a child boundaries, but I know that with my own dog who doesn't like children, I just took him on vacation with me to Tennessee in a house where there was a bunch of people he didn't know, which he's not super fond of. And there were there were 4 children, 2 of which were 3, 1 was a baby and 1 was an 8-year-old. And he did great with all of them. Do you know why? Because I made sure his boundaries weren't crossed. I would tell the children like, no, like don't touch the dog. He doesn't want to be touched right now. You know, and when he does want to be touched, I'll invite you in and you can pet him. And this is how you should pet him. This is how you should interact with him. And the 3-year-olds got it. One of the 3-year-olds played fetch with him when he was like guided about how to properly interact around him. And the other 3-year-old was just like, oh, cool, it's a dog, and left him alone because his parents said, just leave that dog alone. And if he likes you, he'll come up to you. Like, I don't know how old Logan is, so I don't want to say like what's, you know, possible and what's not possible to tell your kid to do. I'm not a parent, and so I never raised a kid, so I can't say that. But I will say that, you know, my dog does not like children. He doesn't like the way they move. He doesn't like how unpredictable they are. I think he also doesn't like how small they are. I think he's put off, like, why are these humans so small? Like, something's wrong with them. But he just doesn't like their movement. Like, kids don't know boundaries. Kids are hyperactive. Kids run around a lot. They're loud. They randomly scream. All of that is very alarming to him. But still, he did really well. What's absolutely wild to me is that prior to this bite occurring and then the subsequent euthanasia, is that Logan apparently, like, seriously harmed the dog. So I don't know how serious it was. It was just, I can only go off of how the video explained it. But Logan apparently yanked on Bowser's ear enough that it was swollen for like a month and still looked deformed after that. Like he had cauliflower ear is the way that Dan explained it in the video. And so I'm just thinking, like, was there not an indication to the parents that like maybe they should create a safe space for Bowser in the house, like a place with where the kid could not access, right? Like a gate with a doggy door and like it only goes one way or something. Like, was there not a way to keep Logan out of a certain space where like the food and bed of this dog is, so that he has a safe space? Because they also said that Bowser was really great with Logan and that he would play with Logan and he would like lick food off his hand and he was like gentle at times. So was there not a way for the parents in this house to create a space for Bowser to feel secure, and then also when Bowser wants to interact with the child that he can? Because I feel like that would have solved their problems. When it comes to the rehoming issue, like, I have mixed feelings. I'm sure what they were told was legit, but I don't know if like they really put that much effort into finding a home for Bowser, because there are homes, especially now that people really aren't interested in having children, like millennials don't really have as many children as previous generations. There are homes that like to adopt dogs that don't want to be around kids, because the people want to be able to keep that dog in a comfortable environment, and that dog deserves a chance to like live out its days without being, you know, pestered by children that they don't like. So was that really not an option? Like, with your 1 million plus subscribers, you couldn't have been like, hey, I need your guys' help. Like, we're stuck in a situation here where we really don't want to have to rehome our dog, but we do. Is there any way that, you know, you could link us up with a network that, you know, deals with these type of dogs in particular, that could find a suitable home? You know, like, none of that was an option. The part that disturbed me the most about the video is like the nonchalant attitude. First of all, Nikki kind of had a nonchalant attitude about the situation up until they saw Dan being upset. And I think that maybe because it was just a defense mechanism, or they felt very like, you know, awkward about how to talk about the situation. But it does also come off kind of like not great, especially then when Dan says, they just wanted to take Bowser outside to the backyard by his collar and euthanize him Old Yeller style, which if you haven't seen Old Yeller, it wasn't a choice that they wanted to make. It wasn't a choice like they had any other option. In Old Yeller, the dog had rabies and had to be put down. And like they didn't have vets to take the dog to euthanize back then, so like their literal only option was what they did. And maybe they were trying to make a joke, right? Like maybe Dan was trying to make light of a really painful situation, and I'm not saying that that's not like the case. It very well could be, but like in your video you have to have some decorum. Like you have to address that in a very solemn way, because then it comes off like, you know, you just you wanted to just murder your dog in the backyard. Your dog of 10 years that you claim to love so much, like you're capable of doing that, and you were okay with doing that, and you wanted to do that. Like it's just really off-putting. It's kind of scary. And then apparently, and I don't know if this is 100% true, I just saw Def Noodles tweet it, they changed their Instagram bio to dog murderer allegedly. Like, where is the sincerity? Like, that's where it becomes alarming to me, because like, you know, I understand it was a tough situation, but there were like a couple, you know, things that they could have done to have prevented this, or even to like after the fact, like, okay, once Logan had a bite, Logan was bit on the face, okay, they didn't say how serious the injury was. They did say it left a mark. I'm not taking away from that. It is not good for a dog to bite a child, and you need to fix that situation so that no one gets hurt. But like I said, they didn't create a space for the dog. They didn't create healthy boundaries, like find a way for Logan not to be able to put himself in the dog's food or in the dog's sleeping space. Like, I'm just like, where was the effort, you know? Again, I want to express, I have empathy for their situation. It was, I'm sure, a very tough decision. I'm sure they didn't want to have to do this. But like, they didn't have to do it, is what it comes down to. Like, in no way, shape, or form, if my dog bit one of the kids on vacation, would I have been like, oh, time to take him out to the mountains and, you know, put him down. Like, never in my life would I ever have. First of all, I love this dog beyond what words can explain. And if he bit a child, I'd halfway think, like, they probably were asking for it because he runs away from children. But, like, I never in my life would be able to do that. I'm just dumbfounded by the situation, because I know that people still euthanize dogs to this day for biting, you know, children or whatever. But like, it's a really easily avoidable situation. First of all, you knew you had a temperamental dog to begin with. Why not just wait until the dog passes away to get a kid? Why not rehome the dog before you get a kid? Why not work with the dog before the child's born, like behavioral therapy before the kid is born? Like, there's so many different avenues that this couple could have taken to have made Bowser and Logan both be able to share a safe living space, or to have them separate, both like in safe living spaces. And neither was done. It's like they just knew it was inevitable that this would happen and just let it happen, and then we're like, oh, time to euthanize him. Like, it's really unfortunate. And when they talk about it like that on their channel, the problem is, like, it makes other people think that that's okay, when it really isn't an okay option. Like, I don't want people immediately just to think, oh, this dog's aggressive, time to take it out back Old Yeller style. You know, like, that is where, for me, the educational aspect comes into it, and that's why I'm making this video, because it's just so alarming to see people talk about that on their channel. Like, I know they're trying to be honest, but like, I don't want anyone else to think that that is a situation that should be replicated. I don't want anyone else to see an aggressive dog and think that the only solution is to euthanize it. Like, I'm just dumbfounded. Nikki disabled comments on the YouTube video, and I'm assuming received a lot of backlash for it, and that's why they disabled comments. I'm not encouraging anyone. In fact, I'm doing the opposite. I don't want anyone to go leave unhelpful criticism. I'm, again, mostly speaking about this situation because I believe this was completely 100% avoidable. And as pet owners, we have a responsibility to avoid those situations. That way we can keep children safe, we can keep dogs safe, we can just, you know, have the best situation for both of them to be in. And they had so many options. He did not have to die. It's almost like they just chose for this to be the time for him to pass away because they had other things that were going on and it was going to be a struggle. Like, Nikki talks about how they were going to be moving, and so that was going to be a problem. How they want to have another kid, and so how that was going to be a problem. Bowser was there first. Bowser was there before your kid. Bowser was there before you moved. Bowser was there before, you know, like, why didn't you work on Bowser? Why didn't you, like, put your energy into fixing him? Ah, I'm rambling now because I'm upset. Bottom line is, Bowser's life was taken before he was ready. He wasn't sickly. He wasn't unhealthy. It wasn't a mercy. It is so sad. It is so sad. And I wish I hadn't seen that this morning. I genuinely wish I hadn't woken up and the first thing I saw was that, because I was immediately triggered at the thought that, like, if my dog ever, like, acted out because a child yanked on his tail, that, like, people would want him to be euthanized. You know what I mean? That, like, that would be an option people thought about. If you find yourself or someone that you know in a similar situation and they think euthanasia is the first option, please discuss with them or think about it yourself that there are other options for this living animal, this living creature that deserves life, that deserves your empathy, that deserves your kindness, that deserves understanding. And that's what Bowser didn't get. He didn't get understanding. And I feel that I'm becoming too emotional and it's time to go. I had a feeling if I talked about this, even if I would start it with, like, I have empathy for them and this was a difficult situation, I would end with feeling like they were really irresponsible with their dog. And that's bottom line what it comes down to. If you don't train your dog, you are responsible for what happens. When you get a dog, you are responsible for training them. That's how it is. I'm going to go now. I'm going to film some other videos and hopefully all this negative just leaves me, because I've been feeling it for like 3 hours. Because I literally, the moment I woke up, saw the tweet, then I watched the video and had a good cry while I was putting my foundation on. So I need to go, you know, let it out. Moochie, come here. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Come here. Up, 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 up. You won't hurt me. It's okay. Up, up. He's afraid to jump on me because I'm wearing shorts and might hurt my leggies. Here. I'll put one down. Come on, jump. This is my boy. This is my Jackson. He hears another dog barking and he wants to look out the window at him. Oh, that was a big bird. Did you see that, Jackson? Did you see that? Did you see that? Oh, he just burped. Yes. It's a beautiful boy. He's so cute. Okay, you want to go look out the window? Ouch. He's just perching on me looking. You can see him kind of in the corner. But anyways, I'm going to go. Give your dog like a big hug for me if you have a dog, because this made me very sad this morning. Bye.